Hello guys, Nigel here with you with another review for you. This is the Trumpeter 1/200 scale Scharnhorst. As you can see, I've got both cameras on because in this review we're going to look at the instructions, the colour callouts, reference material and the hull. I'm not going to look at reference material, I'm just going to talk about reference material. So that's why I've got the two cameras on, obviously, because we're going to be having a very good look at the hull. And then if anybody wants to see the rest of the kit in any detail, just drop a line down below in the comments and I'll happily do a review of the rest of it. But I think this kit's probably going to get a lot of reviews on YouTube, and I know that Jason's already done a review of it in 3 or 4 parts actually, so looking at all various bits and pieces. So I've had a bit of a closer look at the hull because, you know, the hull is my thing and it's something I enjoy modifying. But I'll start off by saying the reference material I'm using to basically agree or disagree with what Trumpeter have done is solely from this book. I'm using this book and nothing else for my reference material other than photographs of the real thing I may be able to find online, but I'm not going to refer to anyone else's drawings or anyone else's opinions about what may be wrong in this book. I basically want to build a model using one lot of reference material, and it's going to be to this. The other thing I'm looking at is when we look on the front of this book, we can see this beautiful camo scheme with the mottled camouflage all over the ship and the blue tops on the turrets. I think that looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm not sure what period it's from. I need to do some more research on that, but that is something I'd love to do. But she's certainly got the Atlantic bow at that point. So without further ado, let's have a look at what we're going to look at. Now this obviously is the anatomy of the ship from Stefan Draminsky. I've already done a review of the book. Right, so starting off with the kit instructions, let's have a look at these first. We got the colour callouts for the Trumpeter kit, and I'm basically going to repeat here what Scott always says about Trumpeter kits. And I'm going to hold this up so you don't get reflections, but you can see we've got some lovely colour callouts for the ship and of a certain period. So there we go, and we've got all the colour callouts there. We've got Mr. Hobby, Acroson, Vineco, Model Master, Tamiya and Humbrol. If I were you, I would cut that out and throw it in the bin because most of it's probably wrong. The other thing is that's really annoying with Tamiya, and this is where I say I'm covering what Scott always says, Aussie Trekkie is Scott. There are never any colour callouts in the instructions, nothing. Whereas if you look at sort of Tamiya, you know, every section all the way through, every step of the way, they will tell you the colours you need going through, and the colours are generally pretty accurate too, especially on their newer kits. And as I was saying the other day, if you saw my chat, I was talking about the gun barrels in the 350th Japanese ship I've got. You know, compared to this, when you think this is a scale nearly twice the size, you think they would have the crispness better on this than they did on 350th. Nah. So I wish Trumpeter would start, I wish Tamiya would start doing 200 scale kits, and then no one would buy these. But I'm not knocking Trumpeter. A lot of people accuse me of knocking Trumpeter all the time. I'm not knocking them. In fact, in this one I'm going to praise them quite a bit. But I just say what's right and what's wrong. I saw a video yesterday about advertising on YouTube and people getting stuff given to them, and they're saying, you know, wow, you know, this knife is just the best knife since ever. You know, it's amazing, it's the best. I wouldn't ever buy any other knife again because this knife is the best. You know, that's not how I am. If somebody wants to give me something to promote on the channel, I will, but I'll promote it if it's good, and if it's bad, I will say it, and everybody knows that, and a lot of people love that because I think honesty counts. I don't want to sit here and say that this product is the best thing since sliced bread, and then you buy it and find it's crap. You know, I'm not going to do that. So, and if anybody wants me to promote their product and they know it's crap, don't bother contacting me because I will say it's crap. Right, so here we go. German Scharnhorst battleship, kit number 03715, 1/200 scale. This kit in the UK is retailing at over £300. I don't really think it's worth that much money. When you compare it to the HMS Hood and the Bismarck, the parts count's not as high. They've got a lot of sort of they seem to have simplified the build a bit. As for accuracy, I don't know. Today in this review, we're going to talk about accuracy around the hull, but nothing else. So looking at the instructions, usual sort of trumpeter layout with the black and white on the front, and we've got the decal application, we've got our legend there. No sort of, you know, normal like Dragon or Tamiya, no history or anything of the ship on there. All you'll get is a little bit on the box. And one thing I will say that amazed me when I looked at this kit, when you actually read on the side of the box, it is like reading Chinese from 30 years ago. It is very, very, you know, you would think in 2021, or 2020 probably when it was made, you would think the translation systems or software would be a lot better than it is. It's terrible. It is like reading a 20, 30-year-old Chinese machine manual. It's awful. Yeah, anyway, by the by. So we've got a kit layout here, we've got our main hull, we've got the two-piece deck, the deck is broken at the breakwater, and then we've got the sprues here laid out. We've got our bulkheads in this one, that's much as you do with Hood and Bismarck and everything. I don't know why they didn't do it with Titanic. And then going over the page here, we've got the more call-out parts here, and as you can see, it's quite simple in that there's not a hell of a lot to it, because that is it. Okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheets of photo etch. We've got some photo etch for the AR196s, which is there, and hope that they're correct. It would be worth, in fact, I'll do it and let you know if there's anything wrong. I'll go through the instructions and check to see if they've got any wrong holes called out here, because it's not unheard of for them to say, don't draw that hole there, and then when you get to it, when you find the part that goes in there, you should have drawn that hole and not that one. So yeah, not uncommon. Also worth noting, I've spoken to Kim at Pontos, and they are going to be making a set for this, and it's going to be needed. So yeah, it'd be nice to see what they come up with, and I'll be speaking to them about anything I find wrong with this that I think would affect the set. So I'm going to be sending them an email today, because I've already found a couple of things. So and then we're adding in our propeller shafts here, which also have issues, and our propellers there. I haven't checked the it looks like here they got all the screws turning in the same direction. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but yeah, because they've got 3 part D22, so they're all the same. I haven't checked in the book. I will have a very quick look now while we're here. Let's have a quick look, because I know I've got a marker here which is near the page that shows that. It looks like they're incorrect, because it looks like the 2 outboard ones are different. So yeah, it looks like they're wrong there as well. So straight away we're on page 5, step 2, and we found a pretty serious error, and that's something that no doubt Pontos will correct. So then we're going to add some bits and pieces and greeblies to the decking. Then we're going to add some more greeblies and stuff. We got our jack stays, whatever they are there. And then we're starting on the whole the superstructure, going together there, adding in some photo etch ladders, bits and pieces. Got some binoculars here, lots and lots of binoculars. You've got the steel grating or wooden grating, whatever it is there, depicted by the look of it. We've got some winches and some guns. Lots and lots of guns, I expect. Here we go. More and more bits and pieces, more railings. More and more bits and pieces. We've got some searchlights by the look of it going on. Interesting to see how the top of the funnel's made. We'll get to that in a second. We've got another gun platform there. Guns, something or other. Fire control maybe, I don't know. We've got some masts here with some radar, or some range finders are they. There we go, more photo etch. We've got the photo etch radar panel there, which is a nice touch. Not sure how good it's going to look. The Pontos one is going to look a lot better, because it's going to be a lot more detailed if it's anything like the Bismarck one. And then we're adding in some panels. This is a nice touch to see. They've got separate inserts there, so they can depict the door and the detail rather than just leave it plain. So that's a nice touch. So thank you for that, Trumpeter. This is actually the first time I've looked through this manual, so we're experiencing it together. We've got some is that lookouts there, or not sure what that is. I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. They sort of look like guns, but they look more like something from Star Wars, like laser guns or something. And I'm sure they're not. So the funnel's going together there. And we have got photo etch for the top of the funnel. So that's a nice touch. So if you are going to build this out of the box, which at the moment is going to be your only choice, it's going to look quite presentable. And you've got this photo etch area here going in. This looks like a couple of platforms. There might be boat platforms. Yes, we've got some boats going in here, boat stays. And there's some more searchlights and some more guns. It's like every single area they could put a gun, they've put 1 or 2 or 5. More railings. Nice to see they've got the railings included in this one. You didn't get that with Arizona. You just had to guess at the end. Lots of photo etch bits in here. There's a lot of photo etch in this kit, so those that like photo etch, you're going to love it, and if you don't, unfortunately, you're not. So nice little array of boats going in there, so they look lovely. I do remember seeing an issue. If you look at Odd Scale Modelling, he's just built the 700 scale one, and he had an issue with fitting these boats in. So even at 200 scale, I'd be careful what order you put them in, because he had the one across the middle was keeping the others from going in properly or something. So, you know, dry fit them all first and make sure they're all going to fit before you press forward. It could be that Flyhawk had the instructions wrong and told him to put the larger boats inboard or something that's preventing him going in. But go and have a look at his build. He's Odd Scale Modelling. He's built the he's a beginner. He's done some beautiful work, and he's built the 700 scale Flyhawk Scharnhorst, and it's beautiful, really, really nice. So there we go. We've got some hangers going in here, and there's some supports there, and we've got some wheels on there. What I'm looking for, I can't think. And then we've got that platform there, so we've got some buttresses, and then we've got some more sort of buttresses and photo etch bits and pieces going in. More grills. We've got some walkways there, again in photo etch. Wow, this will be a beautiful kit out of the box, I think. It's just that, you know, when you've seen Pontos sets, you don't ever want to build a ship without one again. Then we've got more guns. Lots and lots of guns. It'd be interesting to see the plastic sprues and see what the gun barrels are like, and if they need to be replaced, probably. So more photo etch here, more photo etch railings and ladders and steps and boats and all sorts going on. And if you notice, we're building everything into a sub-assembly here rather than building it on the deck. And I'm sure that if you're building this model, you would rather sort of, as people do, they sort of start in the middle and go up and out. Unless you're doing like I do with Arizona, and I'm just building loads of sub-assemblies ready to go on the hull, because I'm waiting for some warmer, drier weather to get outside and sand the hull down, because it's covered in filler. And I don't want to fill this room up with filler dust. So we've got the main mast here, or the forward mast, is it? Going together. That's another thing with Trumpeter, you see, that if you look at Tamiya, in fact, I'll do a comparison one day, but if you look at a Tamiya instruction book, it would tell you what every single thing is as you're going forward. So it would say this is the main mast or the forward mast. It would tell you the colour that the floor has to be. It would tell you the colour of the mast. If there's any lights or anything, it would tell you what colour they have to be. It would show you how to bend the photo etch rather than just say bend, you know. Trumpeter need to take a lesson out of Tamiya's instructions, because, you know, they really could improve, and it wouldn't really cost them anything. You know, you think it's a one-off cost on the kit development. It's, you know, even if they added £1 to the price of each kit, it's probably going to more than cover it. So it's something I think they should do, and get it right. It's no good doing it if you're going to get it wrong. Then we've got more parts going onto that mast there, which is all sort of photo etch on here, which is beautiful. Catapult going together here. The catapult is solid plastic, which is a bit of a shame. With all the photo etch we've seen, they could have made that out of photo etch. But then we've got photo etch steps and platforms going around it. Got the hydraulics there, or the pneumatics are they, I don't know. And more radar here going on these range finders. And then it's all going on the hull, and it's finished. So we're adding some steps and pieces and bits and pieces there. Look at all those lifeboats, they're going to look cool. And then more bits and pieces and boxes, and some more boats going to be going in here, look. And then we've got the boats going in, more guns, and we've got some more railings, some more railings, some more railings. No more guns. 2 pages without guns, wow. And then we got some more platforms here. I guess they're for lookouts, are they? I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments what these bridges here are for. They might be for docking, I guess. And then we got the navigation lights going on there. That one you could easily miss. Don't miss that one. It's hidden amongst the superstructure. Something else I haven't seen on this kit yet I need to have a look for, and I'll let you know if I see anything. But something Trumpeter is renowned for, and well, most of the Chinese manufacturers are. You're sort of going through the kit and all of a sudden a bit appears that wasn't in the instructions. It's like you'll get to here and you'll find that box there. And suddenly, at the end of the model, you've got this box left. And where does that go? You look through the instructions, oh, there it is. And there's nowhere in the instructions it tells you to fit it. It just suddenly appears. So I haven't noticed any of that. But as I say, this is the first looking through. Maybe you guys have seen it. If you do, comment below. And that'll help anybody else who's potentially going to buy and build this. So we've got cranes going together here. We've got to make 2 of those. It's a shame that's plastic. As I say, that would have been nice to have that in photo etch. Torpedo launchers there, they look quite detailed, so they're going to look quite nice. And then we're on to our big guns. Nice big guns, always nice to see. And then plenty of photo etch going on them. Got the railings going around the top, ladders going up the sides, and then we've got a secondary armament here, and then we've got our tertiary armament there. Just going to make 2, make 4, make 2. Okay, so they've obviously got the same gun with different bits and pieces to it. This is make 7 of those, and then 4 of those. So, and then we're again into our final assembly. We're adding the cranes, adding torpedo launchers, adding all our turrets. And then we've got these little bits and pieces of greeblies going down here. And then we've got some photo etch grills going there by the look of it. Only adding those right at the end. And then we've got some divots going in there. Whatever this is here. And then we've got the boarding ladders. And more boarding ladders. And that's it. Done. We've got no stand. We just get this plastic base. Nice to see with the base they just put Scharnhorst on there and not Trumpeter, so it is nice to just have that if you want to paint that up nicely or whatever. And then you've got the main railings going in here, which is, be careful how you fit those. There's no real detailed explanation how they go. You're going to have to get some reference material, and I would recommend this book for what it costs. It's £29 or something on Amazon, and I would recommend it even if it has got errors in it. You know, it's still a great thing to have for colours and everything, because after all, these instructions ain't telling you nothing. And when you look in here, I'll try and randomly just grab a page. You know, I can't find anything. Here you go. These are all the black and white photos, but here we go. You look further back in the book, you've got your sort of detailed stuff like this. I'm just going to stand up and make sure you're not glossed out here. But you've got your colour images, interior detail for the turrets, not that it matters. But I'm trying to get to a page that is going to show you some, hang on, you've got some nice gun detail there for your colours and everything. So it's always good to try and liven these ships up with some detail, because, you know, they can just be quite boring and just grey, you know. And rangefinders there, radar. As you can see, it's very nice to have all these colour images. Got your Arados there with their launchers, cranes, you know, stuff like this. It's good to have, but it's very nice to have, because this is so poor as far as colour callouts go. So anyway, that's the instructions looked at. So we'll put those over there. We've already looked at our colour callouts. So now let's have a look at the hull. Now I'm trying to do this all in one, obviously, because I've got the 2 cameras going. This is how the hull comes in the box. You get the end protectors on it, but there's no foam in there on these, on mine. You've got this foam wrapped around the middle, which is a nice touch because it protects the bilge keels from getting knocked about. I'll take the foam off. I have already had the foam off because I needed to have a look at it and do some marking out and stuff. Now, when we look at the hull, we can see we've got our ribs in here for the for the bulkheads to go in, and it's saying on here, funnily enough, 1/200th Gneisenau. So yeah, that's interesting. So they obviously are going to do Gneisenau. You've got areas at the back here where you're going to add extensions for your drive shafts, for your shafts to go for your propellers, and then you've got your areas there where your rudder is going to go in, and you've got your propeller supports going in there. On the bow, we've got the bulge there, which is nearly right, and I'll show you that in the middle. You've got some massive sprue cut-off points here. What's nice to see, the sprue cut-offs, actually no, so I was saying it's nice to see they've left the material on, but with this one they've hacked it off with a pair of garden shears and taken a chunk out of the hull. So a bit of filler, a bit of repairing in there. We've got one of Jess's hairs there, it's nice to see. And yeah, we've got that one's also got a divot in it, so you need some filler. So 2 out of 5 have got divots in them. So there we go. We've got the bilge keels here, very, very thick. Not sure they're correct. You know, they're there. They're nicer shaped, certainly nicer than Titanic ones. As far as the quality of the part goes, we have some massive sink marks. I'm going to try and catch this in the light so you can see it. There you go. Got some massive sink marks there. They are really deep. If I hold a straight edge against them, you should see just how bad they are. And you can see here, in this area here, you've got the sink mark. This isn't really working holding this there. But we've got some here, some shrink marks there. You're going to be wherever these things are. Got some there. So that's going to require filling and sanding. It doesn't really affect it up here, which is a nice touch because that's where the detail is. But down here, and certainly on the bottom of that bilge crew, you can see it there. But a lot of people don't fuss about the bottoms of their ships. I do. Right, so it's already been covered. I'm going to move this book out of the way over here. It's already been covered about accuracies with this hull. I found some others just to go into a bit more detail for those of you. If you did see Jason's review, he commented that this Gaussing cable on his, it was faulty on both sides, I think, but mine is absolutely fine, luckily. So lucky for me there. Again, back on the quality point of things, we've got here, you've got the insert for the mould, and you've got quite a step around it, so that's going to require quite some sanding to blend that out. And first of all, as I say, I'm covering the modelling side of things, so that's going to require some sanding, filler in these, as I said, and then you've got your sink marks to deal with, and that will have your hull pretty much done as far as modelling goes, if you're not fussed about your accuracy and stuff. So looking at accuracy, I've got a list over here. I've checked the overall length from bow to stern, and the overall length is good. It's actually spot on. So well done, Trumpeter. I think it's 1,171 millimeters it comes out at. I think, don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's absolutely spot on, which is really good news because the shape of the bow is wrong. Now, if you look at any images of Scharnhorst, this comes up here to a sharp point, okay? And you can see this one's got a blunt top on it, very much like Iowa, like the Iowa class. So because they've got the length right, we're not going to be adding filler, we're going to be sanding the bow away. This is if you want it accurate, which is a great thing, because when Pontos make a deck, and I've said this before about other people, manufacturers have to make aftermarket to fit the kit. It's no good them making an aftermarket set with a wooden deck that doesn't fit the kit, because there are people out there that won't care about that. They just want a wooden deck that's going to fit. So they have to make parts that will fit the kit, not parts that will fit a modified kit. So if you buy the Pontos set, your wooden deck is going to fit if he doesn't change it. Your wooden deck is, we assume that the wooden deck is going to fit because the kit deck is good. Okay, I've checked the width, the length, it's all good, but the actual shape of the form on the bow is wrong. So what we need to do, and I'll grab a pen to show you. Oh, come here, pen. What we're going to need to do is mark a line from that point there. Okay, that's very roughly, my finger was grabbing. But yeah, we're going to be basically, if you look at that there, you can see we're going to have to sand that much of the bow away. I mean, you could even just blend it out here. And we're going to sand that much to get that nice sharp point inside view. Okay, there shouldn't be a vertical, that should just come straight to a point. If you look at the Dragon kit, you'll see what I mean straight away. So there's the first thing. But as I say, it's a downside that they've made that mistake, but it's an upside that is easily correctable without messing up your decks or anything. For me, it's a big feature of Scharnhorst, that very sharp, pointed stem. It's very much like Bismarck. So that's a good thing. Okay. Something that's missing, there are sea chests. In fact, I'm going to go back to the book so I can show you what I mean. There are sea chests, which are basically water intakes and exhausts for the engines. Now, here we go. You can see them here in these drawings. You can see these triangular, the parallelogram shapes here and here, which, you know, glossed out, no. And they are basically grills. If you look at a photo, in fact, I'll put a photo up now of Bismarck being launched, and you can see there the actual shape, and they're the same as Bismarck by the look of it. When I compare them to this book and this book, again by Stefan Drabinski, and if you compare them and I measure them up to what I've got, they actually look to be the same, but they're completely missing on the hull. There's nothing there at all. Bismarck, the Trumpeter Bismarck has got them, but this one hasn't. And there's also this area you can see between the two is actually raised. There's a bulge there. So it's add a piece of plastic card, cut a couple of holes and put these grills in. Now the good news is, if you want to build this out of the box and you want to feature them, because they are quite a prominent feature of the hull, this set here is available from my Enzyme Models. And this is P2017, and it's actually Tom's Model Works now. But White Enzyme Models, they used to be a UK company, they're now in the US. I got these back in 2013 when they were still in the UK, I think. Oh no, they were in America then. But this is basically Bismarck grills, and these are all the grills you need for the Bismarck hull. It's only $7.50, it's nothing. But it's got those meshes you can see there for the sides of the hull. Now, if you are going to be waiting and getting the Pontos set, I'm sure they're going to be in there, because they're in the Pontos set for the Bismarck. So I've got these spare anyway, so I can use them on this if I can't wait for Pontos. But I don't think I'd build this without Pontos anyway. So that's the first thing. So that set there, PE2017, it's got your Bismarck grills in it. If you've got this book, you've got the positions, and there you go. And if you haven't got this book, you can see there, I've got the positions there for you. So there we are. So that's the first thing. There's also going to be lots of other vents and grills that are missing. Like you got around here, you got the radar around the front here, and the bow, that's completely missing. And as you can see in here, you've got lots of vents and stuffs on there. The bottoms of these ships were full of holes, believe it or not, where there's lots of vents and stuff. So, and when you get these, you do get a plan in there that shows you where they all go. So you could follow that and just put them in your Scharnhorst. You know, it's going to be pretty right. I'd imagine it's going to be near enough, because I mean this has got the same shape, docking keel area and everything. Okay, the microphone array, which you can see here, this is basically a series of holes. That's completely missing on here. Nothing in there at all. As you can see, just got a flat, smooth surface, both sides. That should be in there, both sides. And luckily, if you have got the Pontos set for the Bismarck, Jason assures me the shape of them is the same. So I've got the Pontos set for the Bismarck, and basically in there you get a template to sellotape to the hull, and then you can drill through. The 200 scale Bismarck has actually got them moulded in. This one has nothing. The bow I've already talked about. Portholes. Now, I've done some marks on this side. Now, as I say, using this book as a reference, okay, I've found some errors with the portholes. Now, there's one too many there. Okay, so that one shouldn't be there. That one there shouldn't be there. It's way too close to the anchor. And there's also one here on the bow, on both sides, which shouldn't be there. There shouldn't be a porthole in front of the anchor. Okay, so they've got to go. Now, there's also two other things missing. You've got these docking ports or something they're called. And you've got one here, and you've got one here, and there should be one there and one there. Okay. Now, they're basically a port where they got an armoured cover on them, and it's where they plug in or whatever to the docks when they're docked, and they're completely missing. There's a door there. They've got them on the Bismarck. They've completely missed them on this. So that's something else. But the portholes between those areas, the numbers all look good. After there's not enough, and here there's not enough. So we need to add some more. Also, the other thing is, if we look closely, the porthole detail's a bit weird. If you look here, like that one there is very soft compared to the others, and I don't think it should be. And also the other big Trumpeter thing, obviously because it's two-dimensionally moulded, the portholes are not perpendicular to the surface, they're perpendicular to the base. So, well, they're, sorry, in line with the base, they're perpendicular to the centre line. And as a result, they're oval. So I would suggest filling all those with plastic, drill them out. So draw them out again, or just draw them out slightly larger and then fill them with plastic tube or something, just to get something straight, because for me they look bloody awful when they're like that. There we go. The position of the degaussing cable looks okay. I haven't checked it thoroughly, but when you look here, it sort of looks okay. Maybe it could be a little bit higher here, or maybe those portholes are a bit too high. But basically, yeah, not too bad looking at that. In fact, it could be a bit higher there, I think. Yeah. The stern anchor is massive. What they've done, Trumpeter have made the mistake. They've assumed that all three anchors are the same, and they're not. You've got the forward anchors, the two up on the bow. They're actually 9.5 tons, and the rear anchor was 4.5 tons. So you can tell the rear anchor is half the mass, and as such it's a lot smaller. So they've used the same anchor for the bow and the stern, and you can see here when you look at this drawing, if you can see it there, and you compare it to the actual anchor on the kit, they've got a massive recess in there. So that's going to need to be modified, and a smaller anchor. Now, no doubt Pontos will do a resin anchor. I may do a resin anchor myself, and it's the same sort of form, but it just needs to be smaller. Now, if I can find it, if I can get to it, I'll show you now in this book, because it is here. I've seen it. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Nope. It's because the camera's on, I can't find it. There we are. So you can see here, that's the forward anchor in 50th scale, and that's the aft anchor in 50th scale. So you can see it's a lot smaller. Basically this scales up to about 11.5 millimeters, which they are bloody spot on for the forward anchors, but this one is not. So in fact, I can't remember, this one was 38 millimeters, so 38 divided by 4 is 9.5, so 9.5 millimeters. So the actual anchor they've got there is about 2 millimeters too big, which is a scaled up, that's 2 feet. So you can see it's massive, so that recess needs to be filled up or whatever. It's huge. So there we are. There was an issue with the prop shafts. The Trumpeter kit, I'll show you one here. They've got this shape, this area here. If you look what they've done, they've got these going vertically straight up, and they've got this area here with a sort of extension on the back of it going into the actual shaft itself. And when you look at these drawings here, you can see it's a lot different. They've got the actual arm is facing aft. Then they've got the shaft looks a lot shorter. This bullet here looks longer, and they haven't got that torpedo bit on the back. So I'm looking at it and I think they need to be filled. I think if you look at this here, I think that the kit goes like this. I need to check it. I'm not going to say anything at the moment until I know for sure, but I think the kit needs to be filled in and material added in here. I don't think it's too long there. I think it's too short here. Okay, so that's something that needs to be looked at. And also we need to look at the way they've got these things here. The support's vertical and they should be angled forward like that. So it looks like looking at this here, they've got the back of the propellers is like overlapping the rudder, and whereas here they're behind. So it looks like it's all out. There's some errors there. They've got mixed up with their drawings or something at Trumpeter. So easy, it's all easily sortable. It's no problem at all. Angle on the keel, yeah, under here you've got the keel coming along, and they've done the same with the Bismarck. This here needs to have an angle on it. You can see there, okay, there you can see it. Obviously they wouldn't leave this just flat. It needs to have a sort of chevron on there. Docking keels, I'll talk about that in a minute. The jack stays, I think they're jack stays. On the bow here, you've got these here, okay, and you've also got them on the stern. The kit has them in the stern, but nothing for the bow. So that's something that needs to be added, some plastic rod or whatever. I'm assuming they're jack stays. Please tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong. But I don't have all day to look through books and find the names of things. But it's easier if you guys tell me. But yeah, they're completely missing. So that's something that needs to be added. No doubt Pontos will do them in some beautiful turn brass or something. So there we go. Right, docking keels. Docking keels are a subject I'm really interested in. I seem to be more interested in the bottom of these boats than the top. Maybe because I'm a lunatic. They did the same with the Bismarck. It seems that everybody does the same with their Bismarck kits. And no doubt everyone's done the same with their Scharnhorst kits. Now, basically, if you look on here, this area here is dead flat. Okay, so these lines here, the area within there is dead flat, and then you've got this extension going out here and this extension going out here. That is dead flat. That's where they lay the ship down, first of all, on a dead flat surface, and then they build the hull up from there. Now, as you can see on the kit, there are no docking keels represented whatsoever. The front is radiused all the way around. This should be flat, so you can stick a strip of plastic up there, okay, blend it on the sides with some thinner or whatever, and you're good to go. You'll be done. This area here in the middle, that area there should be flat. Now they've got it flat on here, which is better than the Bismarck. They have actually almost represented the docking keels, almost. But the way it should be a square pattern. So that should come along there, and you should actually see these edges. Okay, so it should come along here and then go in and be along. So you could actually just score this and sand it away. And basically, if you can imagine, if you were building this ship, you lay down a flat plate of steel that shape, say one plate of, I mean, I know it wouldn't have been, but one plate of steel that size, and then you start welding steel to the edge of it as you come up from the base. So you'd end up with this flat shape on the bottom and then come up from there. You can see it depicted in the hull lines, which are here. You can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, you can see it there, and you can see it here, where the hull comes down and then it meets. Instead of carrying on the curve, it sort of comes down and then goes like 45-degree angle onto the edge of that docking keel. So that's the way to get that one done. I will be doing that, and I will show you how to do it. I've done it on Bismarck. I've seen a lot of people build up with filler and stuff like that. There is an easy way to do it, and I'll give you a clue on how it's done. There we go. There's a piece of Bismarck hull. Okay, so as you can see, that's what I've done. Cut a section out like that, and then put the flat plastic on the bottom, and then blend the hull into it. So you can see that on there you've got the radius, on here you've got the radius. It shouldn't be there. where are we talking? Yeah, we're talking right up here. It's the same. So yeah, basically cut that section of the hull out, okay, and then put flat plastic card in there, and then make the rest of the hull blend into it. I'll show you how that's done. If you're interested, let me know. I'll show you how to do it. There's no point in adding loads of filler and stuff. You can just cut sections out and put plastic card in. So that's the docking keels taken care of. And obviously, as I say, the front one is just a strip to add in. And that is basically that. The anchor chains, if you look, something I wanted to cover. This is the biggest mistake. I think it's the biggest faux pas of all because it's so obvious. They've got the anchor chains going in opposite directions, so you can imagine that to wind the anchors in, that capstan would have to go anti-clockwise, and that capstan would have to go clockwise. Well, the way they are in reality is they should be both the same. I'll put a picture up now of the Dragon kit, and there you go, you can see. So that's their biggest mistake there. Now, something I know you're all going to know that I've done. Ta-da! We've got our whole profiles here printed out, 200 scale, okay, from the book. And obviously I've made my cardboard templates. I haven't done every single one. I've done all the solid numbers. I haven't done, because there's a few 0.25s and a few 0.5s at the bow and the stern to get the accuracy better. But there is basically a set of hull profiles, and if you look down in there you can see the hull as it's squashed up. Okay, this is by far the best 200 scale Trumpeter hull ever produced as far as accuracy goes, using that book as a reference. I mean, I need to cover myself with that one. Using that book as a reference, this is the best I've ever seen. They obviously haven't used that book as a reference because it's not perfect, okay, and there's other errors on the model that are in that book that they would have picked up on, but it's really good. Let's just look at zero here. This is zero right behind the bow, and you can see that it's very good. The limitation they've got here is the injection molding process, and what we need to do is remove material from this area here, okay, because I don't know if you're going to see this, but it comes right in, and it's the same with every single kit you've got. Even other manufacturers, they can't get in there. The only way they could do it is have this whole front solid, and then you get loads of shrinkage. So they're sort of between a rock and a hard place, really. What some of the smaller manufacturers have done is mold it with one side left out, and then you glue one side in. They could do that on the 200 scale, but then people would moan that they've done it. So it's just a case of getting you here and sand. I think this is just going to be sanding. I'm not sure there's going to be any filler needed in that area at all. This here is a little square, if you like. It should be a bit rounded off, but we're going to be putting a docking keel on there anyway. So that's zero. Number one is near enough spot on. Look at that. It's really, really good. Number two, now we're starting to lose a bit now. We need to take some of this radius away from here so that it can sit down further, and then the rest of it will pop in. Number three, again, we need to lose some material from these corners here, but I think you're starting to get get what I'm talking about. Number four, you can see we've got this area here where it's going to hook in under the armor plating, and it does. Okay, number five, it's you can see that it's very good indeed until we get to the stern. Now, if I turn these over, 19 is very good indeed. Okay, really, really good. 18, we can see that this area here, they've done the same mistakes on here as they did in Bismarck. This area here needs to be pinched in, so I would fill that out with some plastic card or something, just get something in there and then sand this away, because you can see on here it needs to be sort of wasted in, and here they've just got it sort of tapered out, so it needs to be wasted in. So we need to do some work in that area there to get that in. And then we've got 17, and we can see now that we're starting to, exactly the same as Bismarck, we need to taper this area here in, okay, but then bring this area here up. So I don't know if I can get this in the shot so you can see it, but you can see that we're starting to lose it here. Okay, so this wants to go down in further because this here is too blunt. And then when that goes down in there further, you'll see this needs to be built up. So it's exactly the same issues as they got with Bismarck. So it's probably down to moulding restrictions. You know, a lot of people have asked me about Titanic. Is that moulding restrictions? No, because the Titanic, as the kit is moulded, doesn't have any of these complex shapes. They could have easily changed the shape and made it correct. So this is 16, and as you can see, we're starting to get more accurate now. You know, once we've done some sanding around this area here, we're going to be good to go. This area, this bulge here is way too big. This needs to be thinned out and faired out. But once that's done, I think that'll fit on there beautifully. And then going forward from there, you can see we've got 15 here. It's, you know, I'm not going to use these lines as gospel because they're not going to be perfect. But you can see that we're, you know, we're really getting there now. We're getting to the ballpark where we should be. And then 14, you know, we're there. So yeah, well done, Trumpeter. Fair play. Best hull they ever made. A million times better than the Titanic. 1,000 times better than Iowa. Now I think hood is good, but the plating on there is like a scaled 17 feet thick. And the Bismarck is good, but the bow is way too fat, and the stern is like this one. It's too fat here, it's too slender there, but also they've got the complete wrong curve on Bismarck. This curve is all wrong here. So yeah, this needs a little bit of work around the stern, a little bit of work on the bow. Job done. Really, really good. And I think probably thin these bilge keels out. They shouldn't have all that meat on the bottom, I don't think. But they're not like the Titanic ones. They're not a single blade. They are triangular in section, according to the references I've got. But maybe just thin them out a bit on the bottom there. But no, other than that, really, really pleased with that hull. Really pleased with it. Very, very nice indeed. So I think that's it, guys. I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. I'm sorry if this has been a bit boring for you, but I know that some of you would be really interested in seeing this. Other people will just tell me that I like the sound of my own voice. Carry on. If you don't like watching my channel, say that, because you won't get to, well, you won't get a comment again. I think when you're blocked, you still watch, but you can't comment. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of this model reviewed, then let me know in the comments below, and we'll go from there. I think it's lovely. If the rest of the plastic is as nice as this is, then we're going to have a lovely model. So then, guys, what do you think about that? I like it. Lovely kit. Lovely hull. And from the instructions, it looks like a very nice kit. Is it worth over £300? I don't think so. I think the prices of some of these kits are just becoming a joke. And, you know, it's not. I don't think it's worth it. Not when you compare it to Hood and Bismarck, you know, the quality of those models. But then when you compare this to the Titanic, which is retail £400, this is a bargain, you know, because that kit really isn't very good at all, is it? So yeah, this is lovely. Yeah, the biggest problem I think is going to be this this stern anchor, trying to correct that and get that to you know, making a smaller anchor is no problem at all, but making the recess nice to fit the anchor is going to be a bit of a problem. I guess we'll have to do some research and find out what sort of shape it is. If it's a kind of dished out shape in the hull that it sits in, then it shouldn't be too bad. But if it's got a definite shape around the anchor, That's going to be, I might even make a little resin insert that goes in there or something. We'll see. Let me know what you think. Troubles with stuff like that. You make a resin insert for that. You can only charge a couple of quid for it. So you spend all that time and money, all that time and money, all that time and effort making the resin insert to go in there, and you know, the postage costs more than the bloody part. So anyway, maybe Pontos will do something for. Maybe I'll make something and then send them all to Pontos. Anyway, if you remember back at the beginning, I talked about the parts count, and I said, you know, the parts count isn't as good as isn't as high as Bismarck or Hood, because it just seems a lot simpler with just these couple of pages of sprue layouts. And then I went and looked at the kits I've got, and I think Hood says 1,490 plus parts, and Bismarck says 1,600 plus parts, and this one says 1,600 plus parts. Well, this hasn't got 1,600 parts, so I counted the parts, and it's got 1,071 plastic parts. The rest is photo etch. Now, I don't think manufacturers generally include photo etch in their parts count. I think they generally say parts plus PE. So, you know, this is actually 1,071 parts. So I got the manuals out for the Bismarck and the Hood, as mental as I am. And the Bismarck is actually 1,199 parts. So it's 120 more than, 130 more than this one. And the Hood is 1,020 parts. So it's 50 parts less than this one. But obviously on their box fronts, they're obviously including photo etch, which I think is a bit off really. But, you know, we don't buy models because of parts count anyway. It's just this model appears a lot simpler going together to me. Again, it's just my opinion, so it counts for nothing really. But just one of my Jess was, there she is. The other thing you may have noticed, I'm surprised nobody's commented, but if you notice, when I move forwards and backwards with this camera, the light doesn't all change. And, you know, I'm using my iPhone XR, iPhone 10, for doing the filming. And for this double filming, I had the 6 over there doing the filming, and I got the 10 in front of me. So you may notice is that if you look at the last part of the U-boat build and this one, you might notice that the quality is a bit better on the overhead. So let me know what you think. The only trouble is, I don't know why, because I'm still doing 720 at 30 frames a second, because I don't want to spend all night on the computer editing. But from this one, it takes a lot longer to upload than it does from the other one. So I don't mind a bit, you know, spending a bit longer on it. But one of the things is, which is really weird with this, is when you splice in, so I splice from that camera to this camera, it sort of reloads this whole video again, rather than just cutting that bit out and putting that one in. Because I've basically got 2 lots of video, top and bottom, and what you do is it always shows the top one until you take a piece out, and then it shows the bottom. So it always sort of defaults to the top, and then it shows you've got A and B. It'll show A. If I take it out, it'll show B, and then when I put it back in, it comes back to A again. And every time I take that piece out, it reloads this whole bloody strip of A again. So it doesn't do it on the other camera. So I don't know. I've checked the camera settings in the phone, and it's all the same. So maybe this is just a lot more pixels or something. I don't know. And please don't go into depth telling me in the comments down below, because I'm getting a new camera soon. You know, once all this lockdown's over and we can go to the shops again, and I can go and actually talk to somebody about buying a camera, I'm going to be getting one very, very soon, and some nice lighting, and things are going to look so much better for you guys. So anyway, there we go. That's been the review. As I mentioned during the video, if you want to see the rest of the sprues, let me know down below. If there's anything specific you want to know about it, or any specific information you've got about Scharnhorst, then let me know. I'd be interested to know, and I'd be interested to know what you think. So I'll carry on doing a bit more research. I need to get the, there it is, I need to get the U-boat out again, do some work on that, and maybe get part 10 up for you tonight. I haven't done anything on that today, so toothache's still there. It's coming back and going, coming back and going, and I've got an appointment with the dentist tomorrow, so they're not going to do anything. They're just going to have a look and charge me £77. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.